Hi, my name is Rick Perry. I have a website, rickcperry.com. It's the Pro Audio Development web blog. And today I want to share with you a little trick that I've been using. We're inside my little storage building where I keep my PA system. And I had an interesting thought about auxiliary fed subwoofers. And a lot of people run them. They love them. But here's the issue with aux fed subs. Now this Allen & Heath mixer does actually have a mono fader that you could send out to the sub, and so that's all fine. You know, you're mixing and you want to hammer it a little bit harder, then you can just push this up, and that's nice. And that's the way I've been running the system. But I've been trying something different that is pretty unique. On a small system like this, these are the like the Yamaha Club Series 15s, the 15 in the horn, and then the 415s here. Well, on a small club, small venue, there's really no need to run a stereo PA unless you're getting really wild with effects. And I have a Yamaha SPX 990. It's a real nice processor, but I hardly ever use it since I got this Allen & Heath because it has onboard effects, which work great for what I do. So you start looking at your aux buses, and so you've got your aux 1 and 2, which are pre, and the Allen & Heath has a jumper inside that you can make it post. And that's important because if you use this for a monitor board, then your EQs won't be affected on aux 1 and 2. Now 3 and 4 is selectable post, and you can let if this is post, then your EQs affect this. Well, if you got 2 extra mixes you want to run, they're post anyway. So by default, this board only gives you the 4 auxes right here that you get EQ. Aux 1 and 2, you don't have that option. Well, here's another thing. On this board, aux 6 turns into your mono bus. And if you want to run aux fed subs, you just flip the little switch here, push it in, and then aux 6 becomes your sub feed. So what did you just do? Well, you've lost an aux. So that's one of the bad things. If your board only has 2 auxes, aux 1 and 2, and there is no pre-post button on your board, what happens is if you're playing your bass guitar right here and you crank your aux 1 to send it to the subwoofer, and then for some reason you go to turn down the bass, your subwoofer level stays the same because it's on a pre-fade. If you don't have the post fade, then when you turn it down, the sub don't go down. Well, here's a trick. What I've been doing is I run a mono PA. I'll run one line to both speakers, and there's no need to run stereo PA. If you run stereo PA and you split the toms, the people on the right hand side don't hear the floor tom as well, and the people on the left hand side don't hear the rack tom as well. So I always say mono PA in small clubs. You can argue with me about it all you want, but they just, in my opinion, the effects are the only reason why you should run stereo PA in a small club. So what I do is back on the back of the board, if you run one or a mono PA, this will be your level to both speakers. Put your right side into your subwoofer feed. Now let's just say your board doesn't have this mono and you only got 2 auxes. Run your subwoofers on the right. Now what that will do is that gives you post fade capabilities by using the pan. So if you look here carefully, we're going to start at the bottom. So there's my kick, snare, tom, 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 bass, guitar left and right, acoustic, keys, vocals. So this lets you pan it to the left, which takes all the vocals out of the subwoofer. And you get post-fade capability by panning this to the left. If you are mixing the kick drum and you want more in the subs, you simply turn it to the right and it puts more of the signal into the sub. Now granted, you will lose some of the attack sound, but this is where it comes into play of just jacking the level up. There's a balance between the level and the pan to get the sub mixed the way you want it. And when you turn it down, or when you mute it, it turns the sub off. So that's the way you can get away with technically having 7 auxes on this 6 aux board. Then your overall sub level is also controlled with the right fader. So you have your main mix and your subs. So adjust your pan the way you want your kick drum. Let's say it's dead center. Then over here, you can actually push the subs harder just by pushing the right up. So that's how you get away with it. Now, how do you do that? Well, if you've got, let's say, active speakers that have amps built into it, simple. You just run your subwoofer on your right side of your board. It has a crossover built into it. If you have an amp rack like I have, then what you have to do is you have to get unique. You have to go into, run your sub into like your right channel and your mains into the left. When you come out of your crossover and go into your amplifier, you need to enable the mono input mode, which will split it, excuse me, which will split your channels left and right. I mean, it'll just be mono, but it lets both sides of the amp work on one input signal. Same way with your subs, do the mono input, and that way it drives both subs. These are 8 ohm drivers apiece, so those two 8s, the amp sees 4 ohm on each side. I do not bridge my amp, I do not run these parallel and run the amp at 2 ohms. I run these 4 ohms on each side of the amp. The amp is technically in stereo, that way the amp runs nice and cool. I can hammer this all night long and the amp stays cool. If you're having to bridge your amp excuse me, down to 1 ohm or 2 ohms just to get them to thump, you need a bigger amp. I can run these in series at 8 ohms and it will still pound you in the chest in the club. So do not run 1 and 2 ohms on your amp. It's just too close to a dead short. So anyway, just do the routing required to put your subs on the right channel and your mains on the left channel. Make sure that your subs are actually crossed over properly. You don't want to really overlap. You don't want your subs playing at 250 and your mains going down to 125. If you get your phasing all right, then you should be able to stop your subs maybe 80 to 100. I actually run these up to like 150 and bring the mains from 150 up, and it sounds phenomenal. So anyway, that's how you run aux-fed subs on a board that does not have an aux-fed channel like this one. And if all you have is 2 auxes that are pre-fade, just use your pan for a post-fade aux. I hope that helps. Just if you have any comments or questions, just leave them below. You can come to my website, rickseaferry.com, and there should be a blog up about it probably within the next few days. And just look around, you'll find it. And I'd appreciate if you subscribe to my channel and give me a like. Appreciate it. Thanks for watching.